success stories in safety management across the camping sector, with the participation of Philippe Robert, président de la Fédération d'hôtellerie de plein air Occitanie de France, Robert Steiner, expropietari del càmping Grubhof a Àustria, que malauradament ha tingut un problema amb el seu vol, però ha volgut, i li agraïm enormement, es connectarà en remot igualment. Després també tindrem a Thorald Knaus, cap d'operacions a Albatross Reisen, i Claus, director general a Albatross Reisen. The roundtable will be moderated by Damià Serrano, director of the Conscious Marketing area of the Catalan Tourist Board. Welcome on stage.
Bon dia, com esteu? Bé? Tenim una taula plena de reptes en diferents sentits. En aquesta taula tenim una de les persones que estarà en remote, estarà online, que és en Robert, però després ens acompanyen aquí també amics d'altres zones d'Europa carregats d'experiències pròpies en relació al tema de la seguretat, que creiem que poden ser uns bons exemples, unes bons fonts d'inspiració si tots parem bé l'orella. L'altre repte és el tema de l'idioma. El farem en anglès, però el Philippe ens ha demanat que pugui respondre en francès. Per això crec que hi ha una aplicació per vosaltres, per seguir-ho, que l'organització ens deia. No sé si es pot posar de nou el QR de l'aplicació, perquè així els que vulgueu seguir la traducció ho podeu fer per part vostra, els que no entengueu la mida del francès, i així ens ajudarà també. Per tant, dins d'àmbit d'aquests reptes, aquí dalt teniu, en aquest QR us el podeu descarregar. I en tot cas, al marge d'aquests petits reptes, tant de llengua com d'un dels membres amb connexió amb remote, crec que pot ser molt interessant aquests propers 40-45 minuts poder parlar de molts aspectes que tenim ganes de conèixer per part d'ells. Ens ho deien ara a l'hora de fer la introducció, estem parlant del tema de casos d'èxit. Jo saltaré a l'anglès perquè també em puguin comprendre els companys i si hi ha alguna qüestió de traducció ens ho feu saber. Success stories on safety management. This is the topic that we want to talk about. Let me introduce a little bit our speakers. In the first side, when we want to talk about the collective organizations and how they contribute to leading the safety net management, I think it's very interesting to have on the round table a figure like Philippe Robert, so very welcome. Philippe is the president of the Fédération d'Hôteliers de Plein Air Occitan. Philippe represents nearly 880 campsites across the region. Of course, you've been also a campsite manager for many years. For 3 campsites. Vice president also of the French National Federation. And Philippe plays a main playing role in shaping regulatory frameworks, promoting and collaborating about the sector-wide, and also driving the process of something that is very interesting, which is the professionalization of the sector of the campsite in France. So I think he's going to give us a very important view about how collective organizations are working in this transition, how to improve the safety management. So Philippe, very, very welcome, and thank you to be here with us today. There is another aspect that also we will talk during this roundtable, is about the living with the risk. It's something that maybe you feel also very close, no? Our daily based working, living in how to adaptate, how to be resilient about the effects of risk in different aspects. So online we have Robert. I don't know, Robert, if you can If you can hear us? Is there Robert somewhere? Okay. So meanwhile then, if before to put down in the resilience aspect, let me to introduce also Thorald Knaus. Hey, Thorald, how are you?
Thank you.
Thorald, I think he is going to approach a very interesting point, which is the operational complexity. He's been managed safety across multiple destinations, the aspect of the consistency, the coordination, also the relation with the public, private authorities. The operational systems is required when we talk about safety management is something that I think that Mr. Knaus will report us. Thorald is the youngest one in the group. He's now the head of operations of Albatross Reisen, and Thorald is responsible for managing several rental accommodations, several campsites also nowadays in Europe. Of course, you can see he represents a new generation of a family business that is very well known in the camping family, and I hope that he will bring us these multiple visions of our destination, consistency, efficiency, etc. I think it's going to be a very good contribution. And just next to him is someone that is very involved also in the Albatross group. Is his CEO, Mr. Christian Claus. Hello, Christian. Nice to see you.
Hello.
It's a big pleasure to meet you here, and we're very excited and delighted to listen your advices and your recommendations for our Catalan campsites. Mr. Claus is the CEO of nowadays of Albatross Reisen Group. He brings over 40 years of experience across the tourism industry, travel agencies, global services companies, and in the last decades more involved in Albatross, focusing in financial sustainability, in operational activity, also in risk management in different scales, and something that also we're expecting to listen from you, which is the leadership, which is very interesting from you. And I don't know if now Robert can hear us finally or not. It seems that the Austrian is not on the table. All right. Okay. Let's go for some content. Okay, it's for some content. Perhaps I want to start now with some examples, cases, and I'm focusing to Knaus because when we talk about the infrastructure adaptation, when we talk about issues that have been happening in terms of flooding, for example, there are many things to say, many things that maybe you can show us about what actually you've been doing, working on that aspect. I think you have a video, and if you want to just complement with explanations, that would be great. I don't know if the organization has this video ready.
Exactly. We were going to show you the example of Koblenz, one of our campsites that is right at the German corner, right where the Rhine and the Moselle runs together. And we experience regular floodings there at least once a year, basically. So if the film is ready, I'd show you our current system, which we are running to deal with the floods. And see? Exactly. Here you see we run the campsite with all our infrastructure in containers. Minus the reception, we have 12 containers in total, which are the restaurant, which you see here, and the 2 sanitary buildings. Whenever the flood comes by, we lift these containers up with 2 cranes onto massive steel beams. The containers themselves, one unit of 4 containers weighs about 90 tons. So this is a way we can lift them up high enough because the steel beams are at the height of the last flooding of the century, which was 1993, which was about 9.5 meters. And here you see the campsite flooded. And again, this is the current system which we use to deal with it. The campsite you can see right about here. That's where it should be. And we're actually building at a new system at the moment where all these units stand on a platform, which then automatically just gets lifted up whenever the high flooding comes. And that lets us deal a lot faster with the water. Unfortunately, it is under construction at the moment, so we use the old system to just show how it will generally look, and that will be the new system for us then.
some of the rest of the speakers would like to contribute, some experiences about the infrastructure, how you've been adapting the infrastructure to avoid flooding or to avoid other type of risks in your campgrounds. I know Robert had also a video that want to show us something like that. Maybe we can back with this a little bit later. Otherwise, there is also involving with real cases something that is also a worries about the Catalan campsites. When we talk about investments, I think about Mr. Claus could help us a little bit about that. I mean, it's very expensive when we talk about safety management. The investments on that is when we talk about, or we have to be more competitive in safety management in our campsite. It requires a high investment in terms of money.
Yes. The investment, when you see, for example, Koblenz, the investment is...
Can you hear? Can you hear him?
I'm
Can you
talking a
just
little bit
open the
louder.
micros?
So when you have seen
Yeah.
the film about Koblenz, then every flood costs us between 100,000 euros and 200,000 euros. It depends how fast the flood is coming, because the River Mosel is much more a problem than the Rhine. Whether we need one crane, we need two cranes, how fast we have to be to get all the stuff from the campsite. Because what you have seen are the containers which we have to lift, but you also have to get off the clients with their caravans and with all these things. So it's a lot of money which is involved, but you cannot involve as much money as it saves one life. And this is what we do. Yeah? The other chance is to stop camping there. So we invest as much as possible, as much as we can give, to save every life and to save the environment we have on the campsite.
When we talk about measures to avoid the risk or to do risk management, we also think many times, and here is something that's very now updated, is the collaboration or the working with public authorities. And I would like also to listen from your experiences, from Philippe. Also, I guess that here, Thorald, also you can contribute a little about that. What you learn about working to implement all these policies in terms of safety management with public authorities in these high-risk environments. What is your experience that you could like to share with our audience?
Ok, donc je vais donc parler en français. I think you can translate, and if I understand, you can. Merci déjà pour votre invitation. En France, on a une culture du risque importante, du risque inondation depuis très longtemps, mais on a une problématique, c'est que notre réglementation en termes de sécurité n'est pas la même au plan national. Ce sont des réglementations départementales et ça peut changer énormément d'un département à l'autre. Certains départements n'ont même pas d'arrêté de sécurité, ne voient jamais une commission de sécurité depuis 10 ans, ils n'ont jamais vu une sécurité. Et d'autres départements, comme les Pyrénées-Orientales, l'Hérault, où je suis, il y a une réglementation très très stricte. Les relations avec les autorités nous imposent d'avoir pour les campings à risque ce qu'on appelle des cahiers de prescription, qui sont des sortes de registres dans lesquels tout ce qui concerne la sécurité est mentionné dans ce registre. Il y a un plan du camping, tout est mentionné dans ce plan, les extincteurs, les réseaux d'incendie armés, les sorties de secours, tout ce qui touche à la sécurité doit être mentionné là-dessus. Plus, bien sûr, les équipes de sécurité que nous avons dans nos établissements, la formation des équipes de sécurité, ce qu'on appelle, nous, les fiches réflexes pour chaque intervenant dans l'équipe de sécurité, c'est-à-dire que chacun doit savoir, en cas de problème, ce qu'il a à faire, le secteur qu'il doit faire évacuer, aller vérifier les chambres du personnel, fermer les bouteilles de gaz, l'autre, il va fermer la citerne, chacun doit savoir ce qu'il a à faire là-dessus. Ça, c'est une obligation. c'est une sorte de carte d'identité de sécurité du camping. En plus de ça, bien évidemment, on a certaines obligations très strictes depuis longtemps qui sont soit en termes d'équipement, les extincteurs, les RIA, les réseaux d'incendie armés, les bâches à eau, réserves d'eau, et puis on a des contraintes de contrôle technique régulier, gaz, électricité, tous les ans, sur le camping, sur les hébergements, sur le restaurant, et ainsi de suite. Ça, c'est la relation que nous avons avec les autorités, et on doit réaliser aussi, bien sûr, un exercice d'évacuation chaque année. On ne le fait pas avec notre clientèle, on le fait uniquement avec le staff, pour l'instant, mais on le fait très, très sérieusement, et on corrige chaque fois, chaque année, ce qui ne va pas, on le corrige pour l'année prochaine. Ce qui est nouveau pour nous, comme je vous disais, on a une culture du risque d'inondation que nous maîtrisons très bien. Ce qui est très nouveau pour nous, c'est le risque feu, puisque en France, dans le sud de la France, depuis 2020, nous avons chaque été des incendies importants, conséquents, des fois sur une petite partie du camping, mais des fois sur le camping entier. Les Chênes Rouges à Argelès, il y a 2-3 ans, totale destruction du camping. Et l'administration, bien évidemment, là, est en train de pousser la réglementation sur le feu, avec des réglementations très strictes à l'extérieur du camping. Ça peut aller, selon si on est à risque fort, faible ou moyen, d'une bande de 50 mètres autour du camping jusqu'à 200 mètres autour du camping sur lequel il ne doit rien y avoir. Il y a une réglementation extérieure et il y a une réglementation intérieure, où là aussi, pareil, des réglementations sur les haies qui doivent être coupées à un certain niveau, les emplacements des trucs. Ce sont donc des contrôles, des commissions de sécurité qui viennent régulièrement sur nos établissements. Mais nous travaillons vraiment de concert. Nous savons depuis longtemps que la sécurité, c'est notre fonds de commerce. Nous voulons travailler avec les autorités, mais il y a toujours un plafond à un moment et parfois ça bloque un petit peu.
You always have to keep pushing. Philippe is been contributing about the regulations in France, very strict on that. He's been, I'm going to translate because most of you already been understanding pretty well what he said, but I think that maybe could have some similarities in what we have here in Catalonia. I'm just also looking for what in Germany is doing about this coordination with the authorities. Now, to your experiences, what could be interesting to share from Germany?
There's one thing we have to say for the beginning is that the campsite in Koblenz is running on a long-term lease by the city of Koblenz. So one of our first partners there, when it comes to these actions, is actually the Koblenz Touristic. They give the order for this whole action we saw earlier with the cranes. And so, of course, we have to keep our relationship to them very well maintained and also be very into the local and communal politics there. And it's very important for our workers also to just have a good personal relationship to them, because when the flooding comes and everything has to go fast, you have to have someone there you can speak to and who you can speak to directly. For example, once we had the issue that the person responsible at the Koblenz Touristic was on holiday during one of those floods. So when they pay this price that Christian told us earlier, from 100,000 to 200,000 euros, they might be a little hesitant in saying that they want to give the go for a project like this if it isn't entirely certain that the flooding is actually going to be high enough for it to be dangerous. So in this example, it was a very close call, and it was a last-minute action. It all worked out though, but after this, the city ordered a decree that the fire department itself can also give the order, because they are not the ones who pay it, and their top priority, of course, is the safety of the people. But this just exemplifies again that we make sure we maintain our relationship to local authorities as personally as possible. So in cases like these, we have a very short line of communication, and we rely on that also with all the companies that get their order from the Koblenz Touristic. There's like 5 companies involved for electricity, gas, because everything has to be disconnected, of course, and the crane service itself. And this is just a specialty we see, of course, because the campsite is leased by the city itself. But you can also see this generally, that it is very important that you have a very direct line of communication to the people responsible that can make the decisions when the need arises for it.
How important is to introduce all these experiences in the standards of the campsite? Because in campgrounds and campings in themselves are very involved in labels all time. So in terms of safety management in your countries, you've been introducing some standards in the label in order to identify a campsite is qualified and is proceed risk management standards beyond the own regulation, and also included in the standards of some labels that running on those campsites in some of your countries. You understand more or less what I'm trying to explain to you? I mean, all these experiences, local experiences, all these regulations with authorities that you were explaining are also included now to proceed to standardize the process and the qualification or the evaluation levels that campsites have around your countries?
Alors, si je comprends bien, c'est comment on peut progresser dans la culture du risque. On est aidé maintenant.
That's right.
Par des nouvelles technologies, quand même.
Well, we could talk about technology if you want, if that aspect comes on the table. But I was more focusing about all these regulations, all these proceeds that the campsites are working to develop the safety management in the own campgrounds. Later on are translated into the evaluation of to require levels of quality, of green levels aspects. Are they also included in those evaluation process?
Alors, vous parlez donc des cartes, je pense, voilà, il existe effectivement, en tout cas en France, mais je pense que c'est pareil dans tous les pays européens, il existe des cartes de risque, c'est ça, aussi bien en termes d'inondation que de feu. La réglementation s'axait régulièrement sur les inondations, ça vient maintenant de plus en plus sur le feu, et évidemment, ces cartes sont souvent très contestables et la bataille se fait souvent sur cette cartologie parce que derrière les cartes, il y a une réglementation. Il y a une réglementation qui n'est pas la même, le niveau de réglementation, si on est à haut risque, risque moyen ou risque faible. Et c'est cette cartographie, évidemment, qui est très importante et sur laquelle nous essayons de travailler. C'est une proposition chaque fois des services de l'État, mais nous essayons de travailler pour l'adapter au plus précis. Le problème que nous avons sur ce niveau de risque, c'est que un grand établissement, s'il a juste une toute petite partie qui est dans un périmètre de risque, au risque de feu de forêt, c'est tout le camping qui a la réglementation au risque de feu de forêt. C'est ça le gros problème que nous avons.
Okay. Now, back to the technology. And between this and that, jo també voldria recordar-vos que si teniu pensat alguna pregunta, jo crec que estan sortint coses interessants a poder preguntar dels nostres ponents. Aneu-la pensant perquè deixaré una mica d'estona perquè vosaltres també podeu adreçar-vos als ponents si ho desitgeu, o sigui que hi aneu pensant. Let's go back to something I was asking before, Mr. Claus, about if when we talk about safety management is expensive, investment on that, and now I'm asking about technology. What is the role play of technology when we talk about safety management in your countries. It requires a high technology, is low technology, is soft technology. Could you answer about this question? Maybe Claus or even Philippe also have something to say about that.
Yeah. The important thing is you have to see what emergencies you can have. Yeah. Then you have to get as good as possible the resources to manage it, because you have also little things. You need handies, laptops, all these things. And what we learned in the last, or what I learned in the last 40 years, the important thing is that you have the resources and they have to work. Yeah? Check them. It's wonderful when you have an emergency handy and the accu is empty. Yeah? Is accu the right word? I hope.
Battery.
Yeah. The battery is empty. If you have a wonderful laptop and it's not working, if you have a laptop which is wonderful, but it's raining when you have normally a flood and you go out and it's kaput, not working anymore. You have a wonderful car which is running and you can use it to put all the caravans from the campsite and you don't have any fuel. All these little things, and what we learned, we do it regularly on a fixed base, really fixed base. It's not, oh, I'm on holiday, I'm not available, and the next is, no, these are fixed dates, and then we check everything. And what I learned in the last years, when I was in my first emergency, it was a fire, yeah, I forgot the number of the fire brigade. It's 112. Yeah, and then you stood there on the telephone. It was these old telephones. Some of you will remember when you have this, and then you punch something in. And there I realized why the number is on the telephone. Yeah, on every German telephone, on the old ones, not on the handies, you have 110 and 112. Yeah, and this is what we did also in our headquarters. We have now these numbers really big on a blackboard on the wall. We have all the things what we want to do in a Ordner, was this?
Folder.
In a folder, everybody knows where it is red, and then you can go in and then you see, this is the number of the mayor, this is the telephone number of the fire brigade, this is the telephone number of this. Please call this. And please keep this updated. Yeah, this is wonderful when you have a wonderful big truck and it's not working. Yeah.
This is little experiences that could save a lot of lives, and we could understand that that is a part of technology, this very soft technology, part of the experience when we talk about risk management. Philippe, you were mentioned when we were getting ready for the round table that in France also we are working in a software or an application about how to improve the risk management. You explain a little bit about this?
Oui, nous avons compris que il faut qu'on prouve à l'administration qu'on est des gens responsables et que nous savons gérer la sécurité. Pour ça, plus on est fort, plus on peut réduire la réglementation. Pour ça, on a travaillé avec une petite société dans les Pyrénées-Orientales, qui a mis en place une application qui, pour nous, est super. Elle est très simple, je vous explique très rapidement le principe. Dans cette application, il y a le plan de votre camping, le plan du camping. Il y a tout ce que je vous disais qu'il y avait tout à l'heure dans le cahier de prescription, le registre, c'est dans l'application. Où est l'extincteur? Où sont les sorties de secours? En cas d'évacuation, par où je dois passer? Il y a un plan interactif, même commercial. Ça peut servir pour le commerce. Le client, il arrive à la réception, il scanne le QR code, il a le plan du camping, il veut aller à cet emplacement, ça l'amène directement à l'emplacement. Mais surtout, ce qui est fantastique, moi je travaille dans le camping, je vais dans le camping, je vois un feu qui démarre à un endroit dans le camping. C'est pas 1, 1, 2, c'est un bouton, only a button. I push on the button. Les pompiers, ils sont tout de suite au courant. Ils savent l'emplacement, ils ont le GPS tout de suite parce que les pompiers ont déjà notre application. Ils savent, ils viennent. Je n'ai pas besoin de téléphoner, je ne perds pas de temps, j'appuie sur le bouton, les pompiers ils sont au courant et ils viennent tout de suite. Deuxième bouton, je préviens toute mon équipe de sécurité. Toute l'équipe de sécurité reçoit un message, attention, feu, et chaque personne de l'équipe de sécurité a sa fiche réflexe. Je dois aller à tel endroit, je dois couper le gaz, je dois faire ça. Et troisième possibilité, ce que vous disiez, j'envoie un message tout de suite à tous mes clients sur le camping présent, attention, évacuation. Ce sont uniquement des boutons, c'est un outil super. Au début de la mise en place, ça coûtait cher. Maintenant, cette application coûte entre 350 et 400 € par mois. Et c'est un outil fantastique, non seulement pour être efficace sur le terrain, mais aussi pour prouver à l'administration qu'on est des gestionnaires responsables et ça nous aide beaucoup dans la sécurité.
The application is managed by the campsite and have the clients from the campsite also have access to this application, or is it just for the management from the campsite?
Non, alors il y a une partie qui est pour le manager, c'est-à-dire déclencher un feu, il n'y a que l'équipe de sécurité qui peut le faire. Le client ne peut pas le faire. Mais si un client, ça peut servir aussi pour la technique, si un client il voit qu'il y a une fuite d'eau à un moment, il peut le mettre sur l'application. Mais il ne peut pas appeler les pompiers, il peut pas, c'est trop compliqué. Mais ça, c'est l'équipe de sécurité qui tout de suite le fait.
Okay, I guess that works with Wi-Fi, if you have Wi-Fi. I don't know if I have Wi-Fi to connect now with Robert, if this case works. Rob is online. Robert, can we hear us? Hi, Robert. How are you?
Oh, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we are in la Seu d'Urgell in Catalonia. Very welcome.
Oh, welcome.
How are you?
Yes, I'm fine. A very warm welcome from Austria. I hope you can hear me. I don't know how the connection is.
We can hear you now, Robert. Let me to introduce you to our audience. Robert is actually a former owner of one camping called Grubhof campsite. He's, as he said, from Austria. And I think it's interesting that we listen him the experience that he has had about managing the risk in terms of flooding. So I think, Robert, that I'll give you some minutes now to explain your own experience, your own case, how you've been managing the risk before to come back with the speakers here in the round table. I think it's going to be better if we just give you some minutes to explain your case and then we go back to our speakers here in our stage. So the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. So once again, warm welcome from Austria. My name is Robert. I was a manager and owner of a campsite directly along a river. This river was about 100 kilometers long, and about halfway we had a campground with 360 pitches. The whole campground was in a flood risk area. Did you hear everything right?
Great.
The connection is good?
Yeah.
Okay. After we started in 1999, and a few years later, we experienced our first flood. That was 2002. So at this event, we lost a bridge at the campground and the whole place was flooded. And this was our first experience with flood. After this event, the legal requirements for buildings in flood risk areas, they became very strict. New laws came up and everything went a bit more complicated. After this event, we were only allowed to build our sanitary facilities on concrete pillars. So we had two facilities on pillars about 1 meter high so that the water can flow underneath. This helped until 2013, we had the biggest flood ever. The whole valley was underwater. Roads were washed away. We were not accessible for a couple of days, and the whole campground was underwater. Luckily, only material damage, no injuries. And our whole technique was destroyed, and we had to close for about a week. And the conclusio after this event was that you need a cooperation across the villages, because individual measures are simply not enough, because the water comes from upstream, and it's very important what all the neighbors, the neighboring villages, what they do upstream. So luckily, after this event, because the whole valley was impacted, the villages bordering the river, they founded a water association, and this water association, together with the federal state of Salzburg and the Republic of Austria, they worked out a flood protection plan. And this flood protection plan started kilometers above the campground. They removed bottlenecks over there, and they made retention areas. And our contribution at the campground was we gave away a strip of land along the river, about 10 meters, so the river could spread out during an event. This helped to protect our infrastructure. The water of the river had more volume in an event, and the positive effect was that it became an added value, because the river became wider, it became more natural, and the banks were flattened and accessible. So this was a big asset, a new asset for us, added value, because now the river was accessible. Because in low water periods, it was an adventure for young and old. And it was, of course, in a flood event, a protection. This is what helped us a lot at the campground.
Robert, I think you want to show us a video about this experience. Would you mind if we just project the video in order that people could see a little bit in images what you've been explaining?
Yes.
I think it's been very clear. Images sometimes explain a lot, Robert, when we see what you've been working and what you've been involved. Robert, you want to just to end your with some of your final comments?
You saw on the video that the river got more volume, and on the other hand, we got a flood protection wall with flexible elements. So our main infrastructure was sheltered now in flood events, but it's just one important thing. The river in a flood event, it has to have some place where it can expand, because we made so many mistakes in the past that everyone made a wall, and the people downstream got more problems, because you can't do any measures which harm the people downstream, and so you should not do any measures which harm the people. Now you understand, you should not do any measures on your campground which harm the people downstreams, and vice versa upstream. It's very important that they do not any measures which rise the water on your place in a case of an event.
Very illustrative, your explanation, your story of resilience, actually, I must say. That has been contributed a lot about the content of this roundtable. Just I'm back now to the roundtable for the last minutes of this conversation. Lessons, and now Robert was saying mistakes and lessons that we learned from those mistakes. I would like just to run all over you, asking about what we've been learning, what is the touch that perhaps we want to bring to our local community about anticipation, about prevention, something that maybe we've been mentioned along the side, but something clear about we must have a very clear point to remember about prevention and anticipation, about what decision or reaction you have had in other safety management, that everyone have to be clear in your own experience to take note from Catalonia. We're going to start from Mr. Knaus and get back here.
I mean, we had, I think, two very good examples already. For one, the one where the chain of command in Koblenz, for example, was not clear when people were missing. This is a big issue, that there has to be a real defined chain of commands, and if people are missing, you need to know who you have to contact, so people don't grow hesitant and hesitate in the wrong moment because you do not have too much time. And of course, the other point that Christian also mentioned, which is very important, is that you check all your equipment regularly. It's really basic, simple things like this, which often fall by the wayside, especially in the high season when a lot is going on. But you have to have your protocols with your fixed dates, make sure everything is in working order, and otherwise it will fail you when you need it the most.
Simple, important, powerful ideas. Mr. Claus, what can contribute you in order that we take note about your own experiences?
Yeah, this is what Thorald told us. Please always keep prepared. This is what the only thing what I can say, that check everything, and what is really important, what is not managed till now, you need a PAX list. Who is on the campsite right now? Who is on the campsite tomorrow? Because if you don't have this list and how you can reach these people, Philippe has his button, I love it, I will have to talk about this. Yeah. But you have to check that you can reach the people, that you know where they are, and if something happens, flood or fire, it depends, that you are sure that everybody is from the campsite and that you can go home with a good feeling.
Philippe.
Oui, juste dire que, évidemment, je suis tout à fait d'accord qu'il faut préparer au maximum tout ça. Mais malgré ça, on se rend compte que la gestion de la sécurité, ce n'est pas une science parfaite et on découvre souvent des choses dans les expériences. Je vais vous dire, par exemple, l'été dernier, j'ai eu à évacuer un tout petit camping, 43 emplacements, parce qu'il y avait le feu à côté. 3 heures du matin. Tout était parfait. Mes équipes de sécurité étaient là, tout le monde, son poste, affiche, réflexe, tout ça. Parfait. Tous les gens sont dehors. Une fois que c'est terminé, je veux contrôler une dernière fois qu'il n'y a personne dans le camping. Je vais sur chaque mobil-home, les mobil-homes fermés à clé, pas de lumière. Je ne sais pas s'il y a encore quelqu'un dedans ou non. Je ne peux pas savoir. Je tape, pas de réponse, mais peut-être qu'ils dorment, peut-être qu'ils ont des boules quiesces, je ne sais pas. Donc on a décidé, après, quand on fait une évacuation de nuit, lorsque les gens sont partis, on laisse la lumière éclairée. Celui qui fait le contrôle, il sait que s'il y a la lumière éclairée, ça veut dire que c'est traité, c'est géré. Voilà. C'est des petits détails, mais il faut réfléchir en amont, il faut écouter ceux qui ont déjà vécu des situations de crise pour comprendre exactement ce que c'est. Mais il faut anticiper, effectivement, vérifier les appareils, comme ils ont dit, et tout ça. Mais malheureusement, c'est souvent sur le terrain, parce que la grosse différence aussi, évidemment, nous, je pense que chez nous, on sait bien gérer les situations d'inondation, situations de crise d'inondation, mais le feu, c'est pas la même chose. C'est beaucoup plus compliqué. Ça va très vite et là, il faut vraiment être très précis.
It's my recommendations. Robert, I don't know if you want to add also in this last round some of your recommendations from your experience.
My learning or my tips, my recommendation in terms of flood is that we had so many accidents in the last years all over Europe, and every one of our guests, they all have apps. And my tip, my recommendation is always stay in contact and communicate with your guests, because this is one very important thing. They all have their apps, and in periods with days of rain, they really get nervous. And you are the ones at the campground, you have the information from the first hand, you have the contact to the hydrographic services, and therefore, to avoid that people get nervous, always inform them, put information on the pin boards, tell them the actual status, and try to calm the people and inform them. Stay in contact with the guests. Communication is very important.
Communication has been also very on the program of this Congress. I think it's very relevant topic to talk about. I don't know, from the audience, from la sala, teniu preguntes a poder dirigir? He vist que estàu escoltant molt atentament, ara encara fins i tot ho veig millor, que esteu escoltant atentament, però no sé si voldríeu també contribuir amb alguna pregunta d'alguns dels aspectes que han tret. Sí que anem justos de temps, però tindríem un petit espai per poder rebre alguna de les preguntes. Us fa por el tema de la llengua o és que realment està molt clar que han estat explicant i heu pres bona nota? Em vull quedar en la segona part. Mireu, I'm going to do just, I've been taking many points. I'm very sure the organization will report later on among the Congress the final report. But let me just show light or highlight some of the aspects that you've been mentioned. One, I took note about the safety is not only about measures, it's a lot about management them better. I think it's one of the issues that we've been learning about your experiences. Another thing is about prevention and anticipation, like is one of the real game changers, not just the risk management in the moment where we have the risk, it's also before and after. I think it's very, very important how you identify the risk early, how you plan the risk, with application, with no application, with the communication aspect. I think it's very important. Also, that here there's no single solutions. It's very complex management aspect, so it's something that is very good learning. It's very good learning and how to identify that whatever in Germany or in Austria or in France, for different types of regulation system, for different type of geographies, there's not like a copy models that we can have, but inspiration from many of you, I think, has been very relevant for many of you, I hope. And finally, also took the note about that the safety, as I understood, is also could be a very good competitive key in our businesses. I mean, when we give trust also to our visitors through communication, through all the information about the infrastructure that we have adapted to these risks, contributes to be better, to be more competitive into the market. Few learnings of this roundtable that what I only expect is that you can give a big applause to our speakers and say thank you very much.
Thank you.
Danke. See you.